Thank you for tuning in to the Gary Life Connection. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Sister Peg Spindler, and she is the director of the Sojourner Truth House. First of all, I'd like to know, in terms of the Sojourner Truth House, how long have you all been in existence?
We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary in November.
Okay.
So 10 full years of service.
10 years,
yes.
Very well. And whom was responsible for founding the Sojourner Truth House?
The Poor Handmaid Sisters worked along with another community of sisters back in the middle 90s, and they were studying under Bishop Melchick's guidance to see how they might help the underserved in the Gary area. And as a result of that, Sojourner Truth House was founded in 1997 by the Poor Handmaid Sisters. And I had kind of gotten involved just before that began and got in on some of the ground starting out of the whole place. And that was a real privilege for me, and they invited me on board. So
that is awesome. And we spoke very briefly prior to the recording about your life prior to becoming a part of the Sojourner Truth House family. Yeah. Could you tell us very briefly your profession?
I was a 7th and 8th grade teacher for 24 years.
Yay.
The last 15 of which were at Holy Trinity School in Gary. And I can't tell you how many of my students I've seen over these past 10 years working at Sojourner Truth House, coming in, finding out we were there. They wanted to come look at the buildings. And those were my last year's teaching. Then I went off to study for a couple of years, and in the process of studying, I got connected with the Poor Handmaids and Sojourner Truth House. So
that's awesome. I said yay because I love teachers, and I thank God for the work that you all do, as well as what you're doing at Sojourner Truth House. And now I would like to know what inspired your decision to become connected with starting Sojourner Truth House.
Well, I guess while I was studying those 3 years, Holy Trinity closed in 1994, and I went to study at Catholic Theological Union in Hyde Park in Chicago. And during those years, I realized that maybe I didn't want to continue teaching, but I wanted to be of service. And because Gary was really where I was born, and I grew up in Cedar Lake and went to Andrean High School, I really wanted to give back to the people of Gary for all the wonderful years that I'd spent there and learned so much in a different way. When I met the Poor Handmaids and they were thinking about this center already, it sounded like a marriage made in heaven to me, and so after their discernment, they invited me on board, and I was delighted. So
that is awesome.
It felt like an extension, I guess, of the service I'd already given in a different way.
Very good. And now, in terms of services that you all provide there, whom do you all provide services for? Is there a specific age group or?
Well, we are basically a women's and children's ministry. For homeless and at-risk women and children is what our mission statement says. And if I can describe it'd be easier if I describe the 3 streams of services. But as far as age is concerned, there really is no age limit. We've had 17-year-olds, unfortunately, come through the shelters, all the way up to 88-year-olds coming through for food in our food pantry and so on. So there's no age limit per se. As far as what I call them, the 3 streams of service would be our primary one would be the women in the shelters in town. Calumet Township Shelter sends their clients to us if the clients wish to come. And the Missionaries of Charity Sisters at Ridge Road by St. Mark's Church. We go and pick them up every day, and they come to our place Monday through Thursday. And we kind of concentrate our efforts on their behalf because their time in those shelters is very short, and there's a lot of work to do to get them into stable housing. And some of that involves support groups, some of that involves identity issues. They might have lost their IDs, they might be from another state. We have to get sent away for birth certificates. All those type of things need to happen. Plus individual one-on-one with whoever their case manager is at Sojourner. And while all of that is going on, there's another stream of service for community-based clients. Our food pantry and clothes closet is operational 3 days out of the week, and they can come in for food personal items. We're one of the few pantries that give out personal items like toilet paper and shampoo and stuff, because we believe if you get food stamps, you can't buy toilet paper
with it, correct.
And to me, I don't understand how that could be.
And those are all necessities.
Correct. And I've never had that experience. I don't want to have that experience, but I can't imagine what it would be like. And so we try and provide that, even if it's only one roll of toilet paper per month when they can get it. That's two streams. The third stream is when a woman moves out of one of the shelters and into her own home, if she stayed with our process, then we try and give her, we scramble around and try to get donors to give us furniture of some sort, at least a bed, maybe a table or chair or two or something, dishes, some bedding, to get her started and her family started. Recently I've reacquainted with an old school acquaintance from Andrean days, and that was a long time ago, and she has since built a couple of bunk beds in shelter clients' homes because we didn't have enough beds. And so then when they move out, they are welcome to become part of what we call our TOPS program, Transitional Outreach Program Participants. And we have a program services and outreach coordinator who visits them if they wish, and then they come back. They can participate in many of the groups. And actually tomorrow they are going to have, which will be a first for us, their own TOPS Christmas party tomorrow.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yes, so they're, we're excited about that they're going to be able to do it. We're rearranging the whole place just so they can have their own space and have a little bit of fun, some normalcy in their lives as they move on in their lives.
That's good news.
Yeah, that's our three streams of service that we are conducting that keeps us quite busy.
Very well. And now you all get children in. What is that like? Like, how do you deal with, of course, helping the mothers, but also helping the children that come along with the mothers?
And of course they have special needs, because often when you have little tiny ones or even older ones, they really don't understand why they're there. They know it's not what should be happening somehow. And little kids will act out, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds will act out, even teenagers sometimes will act out because they're angry they're in that situation and they don't know who to be angry at. So we try, of course, to get them into school as quickly as possible, whatever that takes, whether we have to get their shot records faxed over, whether we have to get them an appointment at the health department to get their TB test, whatever it is to get them into school. If they are 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, we have a wonderful partnership with Gary Neighborhood Services.
Okay.
They get grants and we get a grant, and they give us a scholarship so that if we let them know that there is a woman in the shelter with, right now we have twin 3-year-olds there and a little 4-year-old guy, and they're over there now doing something constructive rather than running around screaming in our place, driving their mothers up the wall.
Right.
And it's a little less noise, and mom is a little less stressed, so she can deal with finding housing for them. And they can be there as long as the woman is in the shelter, okay? And we're able to, so that's a wonderful partnership.
That is
The
great.
1 and 2-year-olds are still problematic. They're the little escape artists. They want to go exploring.
Yeah.
and they act out. And right now we just don't have a daycare that can do that for us. Sometimes if we get volunteers coming in, sometimes students come in and do community service from IUN, and sometimes they'll be happy to take care of the children for a little while, or a volunteer, or sometimes a TOPS client who is there for the day says, oh, I'll watch them for a while.
Okay.
All right, so that's their way of giving back to the community, even as they get on their feet. So, so you find ways to help the mom, take the stress off the mom, and find ways to keep the kids occupied. I mean, yesterday I was holding a 1-month-old for about an hour so her mom could be in one of our groups, and fed her a little bit, and I was trying to avoid to do the other piece of that.
Yeah.
Which I managed to, by the way.
Wow.
And, but everybody just does what they can to help.
That is great. Now, speaking of groups, what types of groups or classes do you all offer there?
Well, we have a real variety, thanks again to our program services coordinator and the growth that we've had over the years, the facilitators we've been able to come in contact with and want to come on board for really next to nothing. We have a Moms as Teachers group.
Awesome.
We have 2 recovery groups. We have anger management groups and self-esteem groups, and we have some speakers that come in. For example, the nurse from the health department comes in once a month, talks about all different kind of women's health issues. A Liveness Project comes in once a month and does free testing and has a little group. Someone from the Caring Place in Valpo comes up and does a group on domestic violence. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody. And then, and the group that they seem to love the most, yoga.
Awesome.
We have a yoga group. In fact, Robin, our program services coordinator, told me today, she said, I was talking to the women to see how we could do this TOPS thing, and I said, well, we could not have yoga tomorrow. Oh, no, we got to have yoga. We look forward to that. That's the,
relaxation.
So, yes. So yoga is really very helpful to them as far as stress management and so on. So
that's great. Well, congratulations on that. That is very good.
Really.
In terms of the number of people served on a annual basis or monthly basis, how many people would you say come through that you all provide service
I think
for?
last year we counted, and remember this is a duplicated number because some people have to come every month, some people may come twice a year, some people I'm noticing now we haven't seen for 2 years and then they start coming back. Just depends if they lose a job or if they're not able to work, whatever. But last year I think the number was around 11,000 or so total. And that includes their children, of course, because if you come in with 8 children, you're going to get more food than if you come in as a single person. It could be 200 to 300 a week on a really rough, busy week.
Wow.
Our average last year was 907 a month. I know this August we had over 1,000. And I know